everyone, welcome to Graduate Yourself. This is Dipanshi teaching you philosophy over here. I hope you all are fit and fine and going well. So, today we will start with the session of Buddhism. I have also made videos on the theory of Jainism. If you are interested, please go to our channel and watch it. So, before starting the philosophy of Buddhism, let me give you a brief introduction of who started Buddhism. Like, who is the originator and propagator of Buddhism? So, we all know that Gautam Buddha was the one who uh, established the theory of Buddhism. But do you know what the real name of Gautam Buddha was? So, the real name of Gautam Buddha was Siddhartha. He was born in Kapilavastu in 16th century BC and he renounced the world in his early life. There is a reason behind everything. The reason of Gautam Buddha renouncing his life was once he saw a ill man, a old man, the dead body. These all things made the prince feel that the world is full of sufferings. So the story behind is कि जब गौतम बुद्ध पैदा हुए थे तो एक महान एस्ट्रोलॉजर थे, उन्होंने आके कहा कि या तो ये जो आपका बच्चा हुआ है, मतलब जो सिद्धार्थ हुआ है, ये बहुत बड़ा राजा बनेगा या तो फिर ये एक सन्यासी बन जाएगा। तो राजा इस बात से बहुत डर गया कि मेरा बच्चा सन्यासी बन जाएगा। तो उसने क्या किया कि गौतम बुद्ध को पूरी लाइफ की हर एक लग्जरी प्रोवाइड की और उसको अपने महल में बंद कर दिया। उसको बाहर आना जाना एकदम मना था। पर एक दिन क्या हुआ कि गौतम बुद्ध शादी के बाद अपने घर से अपने घोड़े चेतक के साथ बाहर निकले और उन्होंने इन सब चीज़ों को देखा। एक बूढ़े व्यक्ति को देखा, एक डेड बॉडी को देखा, एक सन्यासी को देखा और एक बीमार व्यक्ति को देखा। ये सब देख उन्होंने पहले इस सब चीज़ों से कभी वाकिफ़ ही नहीं हुए थे। उनको बस अपनी सुविधा नज़र आती थी अपने आसपास। ये सब चीज़ें जब उन्होंने देखी तो उनको ये रियलाइज़ हुआ कि जो वर्ल्ड है वो फुल ऑफ सफरिंग्स है। तो उन्होंने उस दिन ठान लिया कि अब मैं एनलाइटनमेंट के लिए जाऊंगा और अब मैं असलियत जानूंगा कि ज़िंदगी की असलियत क्या है, सच क्या है। इस तरह से गौतम बुद्ध ने बुद्धिज़्म का फाउंडेशन रखा। So this was the theory and let's get started with the philosophy of Buddhism. So as you know, this is a session on Buddhism, so I am not going to complete the whole topics in this video only, but we'll go a bit by bit ahead. So in today's video, I will cover the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. So what were the 4 noble truths of Buddhism actually were? The first, Buddha says that life in the world is full of sufferings. Second, there is cause of these sufferings. Third, there is a cessation of these suffering. Fourth, there is a path which leads to the cessation of sufferings. The 4 noble truths of Buddhism, Buddha has been identified as first teaching of Buddha and also the most important teachings of Buddhism. The 4 noble truth contains the essence of whole Buddha teaching. It was these 4 noble truths that Buddha came to understand during his meditation under Bodhi tree. Due to the theory of 4 noble truths, Buddha is often considered as a physician in Indian philosophy who diagnosed the problem, its causes, and also tells its cure. Let's get started with the first noble truth. In his first noble truth, Buddha says that दुख अरिया सच, that means दुख ही सच है, मतलब लाइफ का जो सच है वो सफरिंग्स है. Okay. According to Buddha, sufferings comes in many forms. To the enlightened mind of Buddha, only death, sickness and old age, but also the birth, desire, pleasure are a part of suffering. According to Buddha, life is not ideal. It frequently fails up to our expectations. Human beings are subject to desires and cravings. Even when we are able to satisfy these desires, the feeling of pleasure is temporary pleasure and does not last. The pleasure lasts only for short sighted people. Even when we are not suffering from outward causes, we are unsatisfied. This is the truth of suffering. Thus, pleasure appears to short sighted people only. The pain felt when these pleasures are lost, and the fear felt when they are there, makes pleasure lose its charm and turns into the source of anxiety. Buddha says birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, dissociation from loved is suffering, not to get what one wants is suffering. According to Buddha, life is full of sufferings and we cannot do over certain things, but we can do over many things. Okay? This was the first noble truth. I hope you understood the first noble truth of Buddha. Now I will go towards the second noble truth of Buddhism, which is formally known as theory of independent origination. In Hindi, it is also known as Pratit Samutpad. So, the origin or the cause of sufferings has been explained by enlightened Buddha in his special concept of natural causation, also known as chain of 12 links. This theory is also known as theory of dependent origination and is the key doctrine of Buddha philosophy. This theory states that all phenomena in dependence upon an cause, that is, if this exists, that exists. If this cease to exist, that also cease to exist. This theory speaks that nothing is unconditional. Existence of everything depends on some condition. Nothing comes out of nothing. The principle is expressed in the links of dependent origination. A line of 12 elements in each preceding element exists because of the previous element. This link is interpreted as describing the conditions which result in rebirth and reluctant sufferings. As we all know, as we all are entangled in the cycle of birth and death, this theory explains why there is that kind of cycle exists. So let me give you a brief intro of what this theory says. This theory says that ignorance is the root cause of everything, which leads to the which comes through the impression of past. Then it leads to the past consciousness. The past consciousness forms an embryonic organism, which leads to the formation of six organs. These six organs makes an object sense contact. Then these senses experiences something. Due to experience, there is thirst for object. Because of the thirst for object, there is a mental clinging. Because of the mental clinging, there is a will to born. Because there is a will to born, there is birth, and because of birth, there is suffering, and there is suffering because of ignorance. Okay, so the ignorance is the fundamental stone for the entanglement into the cycle of birth and death. The ignorance of what is truth leads to the suffering. And as long as there is ignorance, there is formation of karma, which puts its impression over the being. These impressions cause the consciousness for next existence. This consciousness forms link between the two life. Then there is an embryonic organism. By the power of consciousness, one is linked to the womb, and there the body develops. And as the body develops, the six organs, including five sense organs, which are considered as external sense organs, plus one internal organs, which is considered as mind, forms. As there is a sense object contact, as these things contact with each other, we get a experience. As we get a experience, there is a craving or thirst. Desire is developed so as not to be separated from sensations and to be free from painful sensation. As cravings increase, it develops into mental stickness to the worldly pleasure. As there is stickness to the worldly pleasure, there comes the will to born. We want to born, and thus the rebirth happens, and this rebirth leads to the suffering. This theory explains that phenomena of life is due to internal impetus of desire and consciousness. I will make a separate lecture on the theory of Pratit Samutpad in which I will explain the whole theory of 12 links in Hindi. So I hope you understood. I hope you have a little knowledge of what we are going to learn in our next session. Uh, Let me move toward the third noble truth, that is the cessation of suffering, also known as nirvana. Buddha says that if all conditions mentioned in second truth are removed, all sufferings would cease to exist. Liberation of misery is a state attainable in this very life if certain conditions are fulfilled. When the perfect control over passions and constant contemplation of truth is happened, a person get liberated. Okay, he attains a perfect wisdom. He is not no longer under the sway of worldly attachment and broke the fetters that bound him to the world, and thus became free and liberated, also known as uh, blown out. Attainment of this state is not a state of inactivity, though it is truth that the attainment of perfect, clear, and steady knowledge one has to withdraw all his attention from outside and even from within, and concentrate and contemplate on truth. But once wisdom has been obtained through thoughts, the liberated person should neither has to be in meditation nor has to withdraw for active life. The active life of teaching, preaching, founding brotherhood is allowed. Thus, liberation has nothing to do with activity. Buddha says that there are two kinds of action, one done with attachment, hatred, infatuation, and one done without attachment, hatred, and infatuation. The action done with attachment, hatred, and infatuation makes soul clings to the world and generates seed of karma, causing rebirth, whereas the action done without attachment uh, does not bring clinging and prevents the rebirth. Nirvana, to attain nirvana or for enlightenment, one have to do the second kind of actions, that is, the action done without hatred, attachment, and infatuation. The enlightened heart beats with sympathy for suffering ones. So, by nirvana, Buddha shows that ones whose heart beats with sympathy for suffering ones can also acquire liberation and persuade the perfect man to share his wisdom with them and work for a moral upliftment. Etymologically, the word nirvana means blown out or the absence of all physical and mental states or clinging. According to Buddha, nirvana is a guarantee that rebirth, whose conditions have been destroyed, will not occur. Nirvana also means that one who attained it enjoys perfect peace, even in this life as well as after enlightenment. This peace is not, of course, the outcome of fulfillment of desire. Nirvana is a state of equanimity and passionless self possession which cannot be described in terms of ordinary experiences. The best way of understanding is it in light of our ordinary experience is to think of it as a relief from all painful experience from which we suffer. Advantages of life of a recluse is ignorance gets removed, passions get removed, and it brings purity, goodwill, courage, self-possession, unruffled temper. Nirvana is profound like an ocean, lofty like a mountain peaks, and sweet like honey. With this, we get completed with the third noble truth of Buddha. The fourth noble truth, or the path for liberation, is also known as Ashtamargam or Ashtangik Marg. Fourth noble truth lays down that there is a path which one can follow to reach nirvana. The path recommended by Buddha consists of 8 steps or rules, thus also known as Eightfold Noble Path. This path is open to all, monks as well as laymen. The noble path consists in the acquisition of 8 good things: right views, also known as Sammidrishti; right resolve, also known as Samsalkalp; right speech, also known as Samvach; right conduct, also known as Samyak Karmanta, right livelihood, also known as Samya Jiva, right efforts, also known as Samvivyayam, right mindfulness, also known as Samya Smriti, right concentration, also known as Samya Samadhi. Through, through the fourth noble truth, Buddha gives a path to get liberation. Buddha says if one practices these 8 enlisted things, one will definitely get liberation. So, in my upcoming videos, I'll be telling you about the second and the third and the fourth noble truth of Buddhism. I will perfectly explain it in our upcoming session. So, today we got a brief introduction of Buddhism. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.